Morning everyone, editing Michelle here, I think that's what people say. Really sorry this video is up a day late. As I started editing this video yesterday and filming it I should say, I realised I'd lost my purse with all my bank cards in it. So yesterday I literally spent the day wrecking my bedroom and tidying my bedroom about 4 times, trying to hopefully find my purse. I didn't find it, so I was a bit down the dumps. So I didn't really feel like editing or finishing filming. But I pushed through, I think, and I finished filming, edited halfway, then realised Soccer Aid was on, and I always watch Soccer Aid, always have, always will do. I actually started watching it when it first started appearing on TV with my dad. So even though he didn't know who half the people were, it was kind of nice. It was our little bonding thing. So I had to watch it, and then it got to 10 and I was like, I'm really tired. I need to go up at 7 to ring Tesco to see if they have my purse. So yeah, I didn't do that. I'm really sorry. I am going to finish editing this at lunchtime, and this video will be up at by 5:30 Monday the 7th of September. If it isn't, you can shout at me in the comments. But back to the original starting point of this video. Bye. Hey everyone, Michelle here and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my August wrap-up video. So if you saw my August TBR, you would know that I wanted to read 9 books in August. I did one better, I read 10. Here they are. It's a bit wobbly, so mind me, and I can't even get them up. Yes, you are still on the ironing board. It's great. So here are all 10 books in order of how I read them. Some were good, some were not so good. I'm going to put them down so I can feel them falling. As you can see, a bit of a mixture of genres. So without further ado, let's get into my not so good reviews. The first book I read in August was The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. I was so disappointed by this book. There were so many plots that were in the background that I would have rather have read than the main plot point, which was a mythical creature and a widow and a vicar having a romantic relationship. While the vicar's wife is alive and is dying. Not my tea. Yeah, I don't really like cheating in books, so that was a great, thing to read. And then especially when you realise that the wife's dying. So you start off with your emotional cheating and then you move on to your physical cheating while the dying wife is still alive. In what world is that a good plot point? I'm really sorry. There were parts of this book that I really liked. Like I said, there were some storylines that were like background storylines which I really liked, and there were a couple of background characters that I really enjoyed and I really wanted to read more about. And then certain points happened that I didn't like them characters anymore. I don't want to spoil it because I know this book is so hyped and some people really did like it. So I don't want to put people off, and you might enjoy it or I don't, but for me, I did originally rate it 2 stars on reflection after reading another book that has cheating in it. It's gonna have to be a 1.5, and one of the first books I unhaul when I start going back to charity shops. The second book I read in the month of August, and my first 5-star read, was Capturing the Devil by Kerri Maniscalco. This is the 4th and final book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and I absolutely adored it. There were parts where my heart was in my mouth, there were parts where I wanted to cry, there were twists that I didn't see coming. There was characters that I loved and still love. There was new characters introduced where I was like, I actually like you when I didn't think I would. And Kerry's writing from the start has been so captivating and descriptive, and she writes in a way where even if the chapter doesn't seem important, you still want to read that chapter and read that bit of background information. And I adore this series. I adore Audrey Rose and Thomas. They are couple goals. I mean, it's set in Victorian times where the men normally were, I'm the head of this household and what I say goes, and then you get Thomas who comes in and goes, don't care that you want to work with dead bodies, don't care that you want to look at crime scenes, let's work together. I still love you. Even if you want to go with someone else, I will still love you and I will let you do what you want to do. My bear. Yeah, there is, like I said, there are twists in here that I didn't see. There is one twist right at the beginning of the book to do with Audrey Rose and Thomas's romantic relationship, and I was literally just like, where has this come from? And normally when a plot is dropped in where I'm like, not seeing this coming a mile off, in this case I was literally like, once I'd read it and actually stopped after that chapter and was like, and then I thought about it and I thought about the other characters involved and I thought, you know what, sounds like something they would do. So Kerry, top marks. Yeah, like I said, fourth and final book. I would have loved this series to continue, but I understand why she finished it here. And the little epilogue I'll say at the end, love it. Perfect ending in my eyes for this series, and I'm really looking forward to the next book that Kerry releases, and that is due out in October, I believe. But yeah, love it. If you haven't read the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, go read it. The third book I read in August, and my next 5-star read, was Cinderella is Dead by Kalynn Bayron. I adore this book so much. It is, as you can tell by the title, a Cinderella retelling. Kalynn takes the fairy tale and rips it apart and shows you a different side to it, which I couldn't have imagined, because I adore fairy tales, and I was a bit, while I was happy for this book and I wanted to read it, I was still a bit hesitant about, well, how can you retell Cinderella? Kalynn does it amazingly. There is a female-female relationship which you will root for from the start of it. There is a relationship, and there's another relationship where you thought you would root for it, but you don't. And while I wanted to help that character, I didn't want that to blossom. I didn't. The main character, Sophia, the other relationship she ends up with, perfect in my eyes. I won't even call them background characters, because each character is almost like the main character in a way. There are no plots that are kind of left unended. Everything's wrapped up, but really quite nicely. Yes, it is a quick read. I did have to stop myself from reading this all in one day, but that was purely because I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to enjoy this reading experience, and this was a great book. And I know Kalynn has wrote other books, I believe, so she is definitely an author I will be keeping an eye on in future. The fourth book I read in the month of August was The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. This is the second book in the Glicarella fairy tale series, and this is a female retelling of The Prince and the Pauper. As a fan of fairy tales and as a newer fan of sci-fi and comic cons, I adore this series. It brings together both worlds that I thoroughly enjoy. This co-star is called Jessica, and while at this Comic-Con, one of her scripts for the next film in the franchise she is filming is stolen and starts getting leaked on Twitter, and she is blamed for it as she doesn't want her character to return, so all the blame goes on her. The fangirl is called Isabel, Imogen, sorry. The fangirl Imogen is actually starting a campaign to get Jessica's character into the next film, as, spoiler alert, in the first film she was killed off. At this con, Jessica and Imogen run into each other, realise they look like each other and swap lives to try and find out who is leaking this script and trying to destroy Jessica's career. I really enjoyed this book. I loved the enemies to friendships relationship between Jessica and Imogen, well sorry, strangers to enemies to friends. I enjoyed the female romance that was being built with Jessica and another character. The only bit I didn't like was the relationship between Imogen and Jessica's best friend Ethan, I want to say. Yeah, Jessica's best friend Ethan, who works at her PA. I felt at the start I liked that because it was very much being built as an enemies to lovers, so I was like, yes, like it. Then an argument happens and things are said by both parties, and for me, I don't feel that there was an apology. I don't want to say, well, yeah, great enough for everything to have been forgotten what was said and for them to just start over. For me, I didn't like that. It felt a little bit of a cop-out, but I still did enjoy the book. That's why it's a 4 stars. Yes, there was a spelling mistake in this, if I remember correctly. Yeah, well, it's more of an editing error. So it says, it's not, this is no spoilers, it says, I have bigger boobs. So obviously straight away, I didn't notice that at first because I thought, oh yeah, it says no, I know. And it's like, I definitely know. It's like, read it back, it's like, no, it says I have bigger boobs. So just a little thing. So yeah, but otherwise I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I do know the third book, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, has been released in August, which follows one of the characters that you don't kind of like in this book. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. The next book I read and my next 5-star book was God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. In my notes, all it literally says is, OMG, did not see that ending coming. Don't want to write too much because I want to dive straight into Darkstorm. Thanks, past Michelle. In this book, you follow Mia Kaveh on the aftermath of what has happened in the first book, Nevernight, and you find out that her and the Red Church are still at odds with each other, even more so. And they do kind of tell her that she needs to give up on her revenge quest for the murder of her parents. Mia being Mia ignores that. So she finds out there are some games called the God's Grave games, where 2 of the people she holds responsible for her parents' death will be there in attendance and will actually meet the winner of these games. So going against the Red Church, Mia makes herself a slave to work her way into these games. And while she does, she finds out secrets that led me to write, OMG, did not see that ending coming. Don't want to write too much. I just want to read the next one. Yeah. This is a series that, I'll be honest, I didn't think I would like. I really enjoyed Nevernight, but I thought normally with trilogies, sometimes the second book is a bit of a hit or miss with me. Not this one. Not this one if I want to read the third one straight away. And I'm not even going to cut this because as you might have guessed, the next book I read and my next 5-star was Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. The perfect not happy ending story to this series. I loved this. I loved how the writing style was very much similar to the other 2 books, but it followed a completely different path than how I thought it would, being honest. The ending didn't see coming. I liked how there were bits of a triangle, love triangle being formed, but James kind of like, nah. Yes, there was a kiss on the partner who shouldn't have kissed, but you understood why she did. I do not class that as cheating. As spoiler alert, technically the other person's not alive, so I don't class that as cheating. And she only cared for that person as a friend. So I might be a bit of a hypocrite, but I'm not classing that as cheating because I'm pretty sure her other partner knew, and yes, they did know, so yeah. But going past my hypocrisy, like I said, I love this book. I love this series. It was like the perfect ending to this series. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Jay is an author that I definitely want to read more of. I know these books are classed as YA sometimes. Nope. This is very much NA, possibly going on to adult. This is a book series that my eldest niece, if you are watching, if you tell me you are reading Nevernight, Auntie Shelley's not going to be impressed. She will tell Mummy not to be impressed, and she will make sure that you don't get to read this book until you're at least 15 years of age. Got my on you. Love you though. But yeah, before I end it off there, read this series. But before you read this book, read this book. And before you read this book, read this book. Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. So your reading order is for this fantastic series that everyone should read. Nevernight, God's Grave, Dark Dawn. There it is, all nice 3 colours. Get them from the pretty covers as well, because I adore these covers. Read them, as long as you're over the age of 15. The next book I read, and another 4-star, was A Necessary Evil by Abir Mukherjee. This is the sequel to A Rising Man, so I don't want to give too many spoilers, but for someone like myself who loves history and is starting to dive into the world of history as a genre and a subgenre of historical crime, Abir series is like the perfect stepping stone for this. And it's not set in the UK or America, it is set in India in 1920s. And for someone like myself who, as I mentioned in one of the tag videos I did, is absolutely petrified of flying to the point of having a panic attack at times, reading a book set in another country helps me to imagine being there, and the way Abir writes, it sets me there in India. I know one of my sister's friends I should say, who has been to India, really enjoys this series, so yeah, it's good. If you do like thriller books or crime books, A Rising Man is definitely a good book to read. Abir Mukherjee, mate, definitely can't wait to carry on reading what you write. And the next chunker of a book that I read, The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, book 2 in the Mistborn trilogy. Over 700 pages in this book. This was an excellent sequel to The Final Empire. I gave it 4 stars. It's just a 4 stars though, because I felt the first half dragged a little bit, I'll be honest. There was too many, while it was all kind of the same storyline, there were too many subplots going on for me to kind of really enjoy it. And I know that's something in fantasy, so it's something I'm going to have to get used to, but it felt very convoluted, and I was a bit like, well, they could work together and they just need to talk. Now obviously Brandon's a great writer, of course he is. He wouldn't have wrote so many books if he wasn't, and he wouldn't be so loved if he wasn't, and it's just me. I know it is just me. So yes, the first half dragged, the second half blew my mind. There were twists and turns and things I didn't see coming, and I definitely want to read the 3rd book. I definitely want to try and read it end of this year. However, the amount of pre-orders I have coming, I probably won't, because I probably will want to read the books I get this year before the end of this year. And I think the third book is again a chonker. I think it's around the 700-800 page mark. And yeah, so while I do want to read the third one, I think it may be next year when I get to it. But definitely a writer I want to continue with. I know there is the Mistborn trilogy, and then there are another 3 books that I've kind of follow on from the Mistborn trilogy, so I never know if it's a series or a trilogy. If the third one I like as much as I did the first and the second, I definitely will be carrying on with this series, and Brandon, I will be picking up more of his books. The 9th book I read this month was Stormtide by Den Patrick. This was a 3.5-star book. It felt like a filler book. I'm gonna be honest, I hate to say it because I really enjoyed the first book, but it felt like a filler book. There were just storylines that no, that's wrong. I enjoyed the storylines, I enjoyed the different characters going off, but sometimes the characters were a bit stupid, and it was, oh well, they'd hear a character say, oh, there's a so-and-so person down south, and straight away, even though, yes, I have read that other character's story, but when it's about your own sister, and you know how powerful it is, when you hear there is someone powerful down south, where you know she was heading, why would you not think of your sister? When you are told that there is someone who you met in the first book who is like an enemy to the state, who is working their way up from another side of the empire, why would you not think of your friend who you knew was her goal? So yeah, I got a bit frustrated with this one. Not saying I didn't enjoy it, because I did. And especially the last few hundred pages, I'll say. Not even a few hundred, it's not even that big. But no, yeah it is, never mind. Yeah, the last few hundred pages, definitely loved them. It just, no, it's a bit like the Well of Ascension. The beginning half just didn't make me like it. But definitely I will be picking up the book 3 in the Ashen Torrent series. The paperback is out next year. I have pre-ordered it because I want it to match the rest of them. And I do find the UK covers so beautiful. But yeah, bit of a downer. Even though it's 3.5 stars, how was it a bit of a downer, Michelle? I don't know, that's my mind. The 10th and final book I read was The Heatwave by Katarina Diamond, and it's a 5 stars. Katarina is one of those authors where I don't even have to read the synopsis of her books. I just see she has a new book and it's pre-ordered straight away. Gonna be honest. I enjoy her writing so much. It is a quick read, but it is still thrilling and captivating. It holds you from the first chapter. No joke, the first prologue chapter, from the prologue of this book, I was like, I need more. Yes, I saw some twists coming, and yes, I did kind of spot the red herrings, but the twists that I didn't see coming and the revelations outweigh them massively. And like I said, Katarina's an author who hasn't let me down before. She's a go-to author and an automatic buy. So 5 stars, great way to end the month of August after the 2 books I read before it. So here are all 10 books that I read in August. As you can tell, a very mixed bag. But yeah, really glad I did a sequel type month, because I don't know when I would have got around to them, and it would have annoyed me to hell that I hadn't read them and there were more books coming out. Yeah, so that was August. Update on September, I'm 2.5 books in. Great. As you could have told by my last video, the shelves there where I put my books are a bit full now. They're actually really full with these books. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, in September I will be stood here with a nice IKEA bookcase there. Let's see how Christmas buying goes before I confirm that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you read any of the books that I've read. Let me know your thoughts on them. If there's any books you think that, oh, you might like this, Michelle, if you like this, let me know down below. My Instagram will be down below. Come give me a follow if you want. I always post pictures of the books as I read them, and my initial star rating and a little sneak peek of my thoughts. I will also link my Goodreads down below so you can come give me a follow. Nowhere near the limit for friends, so give me a follow. I always follow back. I always like to, well, I don't need to follow back, so it's Goodreadsy friend. Yeah, I like to see what other people are reading, see if it inspires me. So yeah, that was me. As per usual, any hints or tips on filming or editing, comment down below, and until next week, bye guys.